Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another video. In today's video, I'll be talking about the 2018 Pirates trade deadline. Boy, what a deadline. Very shocking for many Pirates fans, because Pirates fans haven't seen that in a while, and as a Pirates fan, that's never happened. Nobody could really name a trade deadline where they went out, they gave the prospects up, they gave teams what they wanted to get players who are impactful in the organization, and they're not just rental players. They're controllable for another 3 years through 2021. And so we're going to get right into this. I'm not going to name any players or any trades just yet. First, we'll go to the first trade, which was made, I want to say 2 or 3 a.m. around the day of the deadline, July 31st, around 2 or 3 a.m. again. It was a trade with the Texas Rangers and the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Rangers sent their closer, Keone Kela, to the Pittsburgh Pirates for a player to be named later, and left-handed hurler from the Double-A Altoona Curve. He was also a Double-A All-Star this year, Taylor Hearn. Now let's go over some stats for both players to let you know who kind of won this trade. You guys can make your own opinion. I'll give my opinion. Keone Kela has 6 decisions. He is 3-3. He's had 25 save opportunities, converted on 24, with a 3.44 ERA and 36 2/3 innings pitched. The way I'm looking at that is he's consistent out of the bullpen. He can consistently come in, get you guys a win, get you through the inning, and go on. 3-3. That's a pretty good record compared to the rest of our bullpen. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on our bullpen. I'm just saying he's a really good addition to the bullpen. A back end of the bullpen guy, and that's just what the Pirates needed. They needed to go out. They needed to get another back end of the bullpen guy, because nowadays starters aren't going 6-7 innings on average. They're going 5-6 innings on average, and 6 innings is a good start. That's what baseball has come to with the age of the hitting. And if you have 3 back end of the bullpen guys and a consistent bullpen, that's what gets you to playoffs. That's what gets you places. 24 of 25 save opportunities. So if you need if Felipe Vasquez has pitched multiple days in a row, and they had this situation a couple times earlier this year where Vasquez just pitched on a straight string, and he needs to take 2 days of breaks. Kela can easily jump from a 7th or 8th inning guy right into that closer role. Now, where Kela's spot in the bullpen is, I'm not going to be 100% sure on that. Everybody, including me, I'm going to assume that Kela's going to take that 8th inning role, and even though Kyle Craig has been very dominant in that 8th inning setup role for Vasquez, I think he would fit well into that 7th inning spot. Him and Kela just switch off on 7th and 8th. I don't think you throw him into that spot right away. I say you put Kela in a spot in the bullpen where he can come in the 7th inning, take that Edgar Santana role, take that Richard Rodriguez role, go to the 7th inning, come in and set up Crick, set up Vasquez to get good end of the bullpen. Now, if Kela performs well for a couple good games, you move him to the 8th inning spot, and then you move Crick down to the 7th inning spot. But a strong back end of the bullpen with Keone Kela, a guy who knows the closer role in a 7th and 8th inning spot. You got Kyle Crick, who is, the beginning of the season, April, he just wasn't really the best situation there, but he has settled into that 8th inning role. He has settled in to being a very consistent setup guy who can, if he gets into a jam, he can get out of a jam. If he comes in the middle of inning, he can get a pitcher out of the jam. He can get the offense in. He can get the defense out, put the offense for the Pirates in, get up to bat. He can get you out of innings quick. That's the guy that Kyle Crick is. And then you got Vasquez, a hard thrower, throws 100 on the gun, over 100 multiple times this season. And that is what you need in a closer, a hard-throwing closer who can hit his spots consistently. We saw a couple bad pitches last night, but he got himself out of a jam. They beat the Cubs. And a strong back end of the bullpen, that is exactly what you need. You also need a good rotation, which is why the second trade, maybe the biggest surprise trade of the trade deadline, happened. But we're going to have to go to what the Pirates gave up to get Keone Kela, a player to be named later, and I will go over what those possible players for both trades could be. But the one player that we do know is Taylor Hearn, left-handed, settled into a starter role with Double-A Altoona. He was a Double-A All-Star, and he has some decent numbers. Not jaw-dropping, eye-popping, but you can look at it the way you want to look at it. Taylor Hearn is 3-6 with 2 complete games, a 3.12 ERA, and 104 innings pitched, which means that he's a guy that Altoona relies on when he comes out of the bullpen. But he settled into that starter role around May. 3-6, that's not the best record, but he's still, you can see, with a 3.12 ERA in 2 complete games in the minor leagues, that's very good, pretty good. He was top 15 prospect in our system. He was in that area. We got him in the Mark Melancon trade that sent it over Felipe Rivero at the time, now Felipe Vasquez, and Taylor Hearn. And now we're shipping Taylor Hearn to Texas. I mean, 3-6, again, not a good record, but still, with 2 complete games and a 3.12 ERA, that shows you that he can be a good guy out of that starting role. And I see him being a middle of the line, a 3-4 starter if he ever makes it to the MLB and gets out of that bullpen. If he's in the bullpen, I see him as a guy who's like your 6th inning guy. If you need a 6th inning guy, you put him in that role every now and then. If he makes it a starter, I see him as a 3-4 starter. So that was the Texas Rangers and Pittsburgh Pirates trade that sent Keela to the Pirates for Taylor Hearn and a player to be named later. And now let's go to the blockbuster trade, the biggest trade, maybe you can call it, in Pirates history that seems about now at the trade deadline. Neil Huntington, in the past, we know he's not been willing to send out prospects. You know he wants the prospects in return. He's not been willing to go out there and spend that prospects, and then you got that people that are after this trade are saying, why the heck are you spending all these prospects? This is ridiculously pricey. You just wanted him to do that for many years now. I am not going to complain with what we gave up. And at first, I didn't think I'd be able to really digest it. But it has given me time to realize, wait a minute. These guys haven't been really impactful late in the season. So let's take a look at the trade. Tampa Bay Rays and Pittsburgh Pirates. The Tampa Bay Rays traded Chris Archer to the Pittsburgh Pirates, and easily, Chris Archer was the number 1 pitcher available at the trade deadline. The Pirates go out and got him. Name another top pitcher, top position player, top any guy that you're looking at the trade deadline, and the Pittsburgh Pirates end up getting him. You really cannot name that. I'm going to give you 5 seconds. If you name a guy, put him in the comments below. But Chris Archer, he doesn't have, I mean, if you look at the numbers and that stuff, you're going to say it's a bad trade. But you got to look at the division he's playing in. He's 3-5 with 102 strikeouts, a 4.31 ERA, and 96 innings pitched. He's pitching in that American League East, which has the Red Sox, who are on fire, the Yankees, who are over 25 games over 500, 25 plus games over 500. And they're still in more than 6 games out of first place. That just shows you how competitive the American League East is. So Chris Archer, and let's take a look at his last 3 years, 2015 to 2017, his normal strikeouts. 2015, 252 strikeouts. 2016, 233 strikeouts. And 2017, 249 strikeouts. Let that settle in. That he is that guy. Top of the line strikeouts, and the Pirates don't normally have strikeout guys a lot. The Pirates have a lot of ground ball and fly ball pitchers. We don't really have many fair strikeout pitchers, starters, at least in the rotation. And adding a strikeout pitcher to the top of our rotation, I don't know if he's going to take that 1 spot. I'm assuming maybe it's going to be him and Tyone taking the top 2 spots easy. Chris Archer, I don't know when he's going to make his debut, but it will be this weekend against St. Louis, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't know which day. Hoping it's Saturday because that's the only game I'm going to. So I don't know. Many people are speculating it will be Friday, though. But Chris Archer, those right there, if that doesn't get you excited, last 3 years. Again, let me go through them for you. 2015, he had 252 strikeouts. 2016, he had 233 strikeouts. 2017, he had 249 strikeouts. Let that sink in. And if that doesn't get you excited to be a Pirates fan, to actually like Neil Huntington for once, for going out, being aggressive, making these deals, I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't know if you just really hate Neil Huntington no matter what he does. But Pirates fans, finally, something to be excited about. An 11-game winning streak. We're hot. Everybody knew we got to go out and get some guys at the deadline. Keela, okay, that's a guy, a closer. He can help out the back end of our bullpen. But when everybody saw that the Pirates were very active in Chris Archer's market, they were hoping, come on, Neil Huntington, go out there and get the guy. Get the guy. Nobody was, in many radio shows, said, I hope. But I don't think the Pirates are going to get him. And when the news came out, with about 30 minutes till the 4 o'clock deadline, wasn't official just yet. They made it official. I mean, even when it wasn't official, I was very excited. I mean, that was before I realized a return, but I am still very excited about that trade. He went out there, he got the guy. Now let's see what he was willing to give up. Let's go Austin Meadows, which that's going to burn for some Pirates fans because, I mean, we all know. He's the guy. He's the one big reason why we dumped Andrew McCutchen, because we knew we had Austin Meadows to come in and play center field. And through the first 4 games in which he had a .404 average with 5 home runs, everybody saw so much potential in this guy. But he had 165 plate appearances overall in the major leagues this year. The last 114 plate appearances he had with the Pirates, the next 114 he had after that huge stint where he went .404 with 5 home runs, he had a .243 average, only slugged .308 without a single home run. So that potential just dwindled in the little pieces. And poof, just went. Putting his stats overall at .292 average, .468 slugging with 165 plate appearances. And he didn't put up jaw-dropping or eye-popping numbers in Indianapolis either. I think they called him up a little too early. I mean, yes, I agree. There was no other outfielder to bring up, really, that you could think of. But they brought him up a little too early. And the numbers right here, they're backing that up. They're backing my statement up. And if you don't believe me, that's your own. But you can't argue with how bad that looks. That does not look good on Austin Meadows. With a good stint to start, and then he just drops off. And it's not like it was because they played tough teams. No, it was the same amount. It was the same NL Central National League teams that he was playing to start with in the first 14 games of his MLB career. So the drop off just really, once you see that, you realize, wait a minute, it wasn't too bad after all to give up Austin Meadows. I mean, he could turn into an outfield star, but he could turn into the next Travis Snyder as well. And let's take a look at Tyler Glass now. He was another piece of the trade. A 1-2 record, a 72 strikeouts, 4.34 ERA, with 56 innings pitched. Not very good numbers either. And you look at his minor league stats. He is the minor league Cy Young. You can't touch him when he's in AAA, AA, high A ball, single A, low A ball. You weren't able to touch him. He was the top prospect in our system 3 years in a row, according to MLB Pipeline. And he just couldn't reach his full potential in the MLB. He got to the MLB, he was a starter. No. Everybody realized 2 starts. No, that is not what we want in a starter. He sent him back down to AAA, which is exactly what they did. They brought him back up, put him in a bullpen role, and that still wasn't really that good. I mean, it was enough for him to stay on the opening day roster, and he hasn't been sent down the entire year. But he just hasn't reached his full potential in the MLB. And I think that if he reaches his full potential in the MLB, once he gets to the Tampa Bay Rays, if he's able to bring his minor league numbers up to the major league, he can become a Randy Johnson. But if he doesn't realize his full potential, he could become one of the biggest pitching busts in the MLB. A guy that has fantastic minor league numbers. You really couldn't argue that this guy couldn't make it in the major leagues. But once you see it happen, wow. I mean, a guy that has a high 1 to low 2 ERA in his entire minor league career can't make it in the MLB. That's a big bust right there. And I'm not glad that they offloaded some of the top 2 young guys, but I am not mad at it either. Because once you look at the numbers and once you really think about it, it's not such a hard offload of these players either. And to get a guy who can be that easy 5th in your rotation, who can send this team up the wild card and maybe even get that second wild card, competing with Atlanta, who got Kevin Gossman, Milwaukee, who offloaded Jonathan VR for Jonathan Scope. When you're competing with Arizona, who reacquired Brad Ziegler, a guy that had been with their organization for 5 years, 2011 to 2016. And also acquired Jake Diekman, reliever from the Rangers. So they knew that every team that's in that wild card race, that's in a playoff race, goes out and gets their guy. The last few years, the Pirates have been making a run. It was guys like Justin Morneau, Marlon Byrd, Joe Buck. Guys that they got from waivers. Guys that they got after the trade deadline. Guys from the waiver wire. Getting from waivers. Now that they go out, get guys in real trades like Keon Aquila, Chris Archer. This has to restore hope in the Pirates fan base. Because now that we know Neil Huntington, he's going out there, he's getting these guys. He's not afraid to spend the prospects now that he believes in this team. They are a real playoff contender. And if you don't believe me, then I guess we're both going to have to watch and find out who's right. But thanks for watching this video, guys. Leave your thoughts on the Pirates trade deadline in the comments below. And until next time, again, thank you so much for watching this video.